Hello everybody, my name is Benjamin Bloom, coming at you from the car park at Barnet, about to watch Barnet versus Brentford in the FA Cup. Look out for a review of that later, but I am here to talk about Steve Bruce because my timeline's been full of Steve Bruce stuff today. So Steve Bruce is about to take over at Sheffield Wednesday on February the 1st. Obviously, he started the season at Aston Villa, spent a lot of money there last season, lost in the playoff final to Fulham, and things kind of unravelled a little bit unseemly. And he was the first manager to be fired. There have been a few that have gone already this season. He was replaced by Dean Smith. In the background of all this were some very sad personal things. Steve Bruce losing both his parents in fairly short time, I think, this year. So obviously very sad time in his life. Some people said that that may have contributed to things at Aston Villa, that he wasn't quite himself and he struggled to cope with it. And obviously we wish anybody in that situation all the very best. So he has some time away from football, and on January the 1st he's announced that he's going to take over from Josh Luhukai. Luhukai was sacked, I think, December the 21st, if I'm getting my dates correct. So Christmas happens, Bruce is then announced by Sheffield Wednesday, but what they also announced is that he's done some kind of deal with them which says, look, I'm going to take the job, but for personal reasons I'm going to be taking over on February the 2nd. Now it sounds as though Bruce wanted a little bit more time away to recoup, and I don't know, I think that sounds fair enough. If somebody wants a particular person, they're headhunting them to come and work for their organisation, and that person says, yes, I'll come and work for you, but under these circumstances, and the person headhunting them says, okay, that's fine. Well, it kind of should really be between them. But in a BBC broadcast yesterday, Sheffield Wednesday went to Chelsea in the FA Cup, and this came up, and the comments made particularly by Danny Murphy and Ruud Gullit have caused a bit of a stink. Alex Scott is there too, but she seems to be a little bit more balanced and a little bit more understanding. Ruud Gullit saying, oh, if this was Man United, he wouldn't have done that. And then Gabby Logan questioned him and said, well, I think you're saying that you wouldn't have done that, and he's not quite drawn on that. And then Danny Murphy seems to be trying to be the bad guy of the punditry team. I think he's been watching some Graham Souness or some Roy Keane or something, and he says that no manager he had would ever have done that, and he's sunning himself on some holiday. Now, I've read various things about this, and that there's some promise that Steve Bruce made to himself that his late father would have been watching the cricket with him. So I think there's some kind of emotional reason, and also I've also read that it was kind of some kind of thank you to his wife and family for helping him through that tough time. So it raises a couple of questions. One, did Steve Bruce act in an unprofessional way by not taking the job straight away? I don't think so. I think, like I said, if you have an agreement with your employee and that's what they agree to, then there you go, sign, away you go, and everything will be fine. Be interested what people think in the comments on that. The other thing seems to be Gullit and Murphy's comments. Were they out of order, and were they researched even? I don't know whether they even knew about the emotional side of it, or whether they're just trying to say something on TV. Alex Bruce, Steve Bruce's son, who's been a centre-half for a long career, played for lots of, sort of around the championship level, he tweeted back a pretty tough response to Gullit and Murphy, saying, look, if you've been a manager since 1998, which Steve Bruce has, and if you'd been through what he'd been through, you don't begrudge him some time off, which seems pretty much a fair comment. I must say, if you do follow Alex Bruce, he's defended his father an awful lot on Twitter, particularly to Aston Villa fans who said that he'd spent lots of money and not succeeded. But I think we can all argue that it's fair enough to come out and stand up for your dad when he's getting some grief there. So Alex Bruce speaks out, and then a lot of other people kind of spoke out. So what I'd be interested in is your thoughts on the comments from Gullit and Murphy. Were they out of order? Do they have a point? I think they're probably been a little bit harsh. And just generally speaking, I probably know more about the Championship than most people because I've got a blooming YouTube channel and I've seen 40 Championship games this season. But the standard of punditry from the national guys, and I don't include David Prutton and Scott Minto and the Sky guys or Colin Murray, but the general, when the BBC guys kind of dip in and the ITV guys dip in, it really feels like if you're not talking about Derby and they can't talk about Frank Lampard or another big name, i.e. Martin O'Neill, Leeds, Aston Villa, etc., etc., they don't really do their research or know what they're talking about. Again, I was listening to Accrington and Derby, and really Mark Lawrenson and the Radio 5 live commentator didn't seem to know a lot of what they were talking about. I understand if these people do Premier League every week, but come on guys, some bit of professionalism. So I'm just really interested. This has narked me on a few levels. Let me know if you think I'm narked wrongly, but I think Bruce is within his rights to do this if Sheffield Wednesday have agreed it. I think that Gullit and Murphy, I'm not really including Alex Scott in this, are a bit out of order to say that. Are they? Let me know again what you think. And I also think that generally national pundits, really, when they're talking about the Championship, they don't have the slightest clue what they're talking about a lot of the time. Be really interested to know people's thoughts on those three topics. And I wonder if you took your average national pundit for, I don't know, TalkSport or BBC or ITV or whoever, and asked them to name as many of the 24 managers working in the Championship at the moment, how many do you reckon would actually get above 10? I'd be very interested, because I think there'd be a few people would be struggling as soon as they're not talking about Champions League or Premier League. And the fact that the Championship feeds into the Premier League, you'd think they would need to know a little bit more. Anyway, Steve Bruce will be starting off at Sheffield Wednesday next week against my team, Ipswich. So, and I'm sure he'll be welcomed by the Sheffield Wednesday fans. Bit of a touchy subject, so keep your comments nice and sensible. I've tried to do it as balanced as I can, but let me know what you think. I'm about to go in and watch Barnet versus Brentford, so check out for that review. I've done a bit of a tech upgrade, hopefully have something arriving, so my live stream that was a completely miserable failure yesterday should be a little bit better on Thursday, so look out for that. Give me a thumbs up, give me a comment, subscribe for more Championship stuff. Brilliant weekend. I'm going to be at Preston Derby, then I'm going to be appearing on the Talk Norwich City channel, and then I'm going to be at Leeds versus Norwich, then I'll do my live stream, and then it's the Blue Monday podcast after that. So big week of content, lots of stuff coming, well worth subscribing. But more to the point, get your comments in on Steve Bruce, the way he's been appointed, his little sabbatical, and what you think of the punditry around that, and generally the punditry from national pundits about Championship matters. Thank you for watching. Again, look out for the review later, Barnet versus Brentford, and see you soon.